The morning began like any other in the small town of Hilford, but something felt slightly wrong, like the quiet had a weight to it. Birds were chirping, cars rolled down the street, and the sun shone with its usual soft glow. And yet, there was something else, something hiding behind the normal sounds of life. Eli Turner sensed that strange feeling the moment he stepped off the school bus. He wasn't a nervous kid, nor the type who believed in strange signs from the universe, but today he felt as if the world was holding its breath. He walked down Maple Street toward his best friend Noah's house, his backpack thumping against his back with each step. They had planned to work on their science project together, something about energy waves, though Noah always insisted they could make it cooler by adding lasers or explosions. Eli was the one who usually brought things back to reality. When he reached the white two-story house at the end of the street, he noticed something odd. The front yard lights were still on, even though it was broad daylight, and there was a faint humming sound drifting out from the living room window, a sound he had never heard before. Not quite a machine. Not quite natural. Something in between. Eli knocked. A moment passed. Then another. He lifted his hand to knock again when the door swung open, and there stood Dr. Maya Reed. Noah's mom. She wasn't wrapped in a towel or anything strange like that. Eli had already made sure the story stayed safe and clean, but she was holding a smoking device that looked like a cross between a hairdryer and a miniature rocket engine. Her curly brown hair was a frizzy cloud around her face. She wore her usual lab coat over a t-shirt that said, "Science needs no permission," and her expression hovered somewhere between distracted genius and someone who had forgotten what day of the week it was. "Oh, Eli," she said, blinking like the sunlight had surprised her. "You're early." "It's actually 10 a.m., he said gently. Dr. Reed looked at her wristwatch, frowned, turned it upside down, then shrugged. "Right. Well, come in. And don't touch anything glowing blue." That warning was unusual even for her. Eli stepped inside. The humming sound intensified, vibrating faintly through the floor. The living room looked like it had been swallowed by a science fair. Machines with blinking lights sat on every table. Wires snaked across the floor like colorful vines. A metal sphere hovered 3 inches above the coffee table, spinning slowly without any visible support. On the couch, Noah sat cross-legged with goggles on his forehead, typing rapidly on a laptop. He looked up. "Dude, you're here. Mom's working on something insane again." "That's not true," Dr. Reed called from the kitchen. "It's only moderately insane." A loud bang sounded, followed by a puff of purple smoke drifting into the living room. "Okay, maybe slightly more than moderate," she added. Eli turned to Noah. "Is everything all right?" Noah grinned. "Not even close." Before Eli could respond, Dr. Reed rushed back into the room, holding a metal box with bright blue lights pulsing across it. She placed it on the ground, stepped back, and let out a relieved sigh. "There," she said. "Stable, hopefully." "Mom," Noah said carefully. "Did you make something that could explode?" "That depends on your definition of explode," she replied. "That's not comforting," Eli whispered. Dr. Reed gestured toward the floating sphere. "I've made a breakthrough." "Maybe. Possibly. It might even be safe now." The sphere gave off a soft wum-wum-wum sound. "What is it?" Eli asked. She beamed, the kind of smile only scientists make when they've discovered something big. "A localized gravitational wave manipulator." Eli blinked. "In simple English?" "It bends space a tiny, tiny bit," she said. "Just enough to help with energy transfer. It could revolutionize clean power." "That sounds awesome," Noah said. "Also dangerous." "It is both," she agreed cheerfully. Eli opened his mouth to ask more, but the sphere suddenly pulsed brighter. The hum grew louder, deeper, almost like a heartbeat echoing through the air. Dr. Reed's smile faded. "That's new." The lights in the room flickered. The hum deepened again. Then, with a sharp crack, a beam of blue light shot out from the sphere, slicing through the air like lightning, but instead of burning anything, it seemed to warp the space it touched. The walls stretched for a second like elastic, then snapped back. Eli stumbled backward. Noah swore loudly. Dr. Reed froze. "That wasn't me," she whispered. The sphere pulsed again. This time, The beam shot straight upward right through the ceiling. No damage, no hole. Just a strange ripple through the roof like the house was suddenly underwater. "Turn it off!" Noah shouted. Dr. Reed hurried toward a control panel, slamming buttons as fast as she could. "It's not responding." The humming became a vibrating roar. The windows rattled. The air shimmered like heat waves. And then just as suddenly as it began, the sphere stopped. The room fell silent. No hum. No heartbeat sound. No shaking. Just silence. Eli exhaled shakily. "Is it over?" Dr. Reed didn't answer at first. She slowly approached the sphere, her lab coat shifting in the suddenly still air. She studied its surface, then frowned. "I don't understand," she murmured. "It shouldn't have done that." Noah lifted his goggles. "So, what did it do?" Dr. Reed walked to the window and pushed aside the curtain. Her breath caught. Eli followed her gaze, and his jaw dropped. The sky was no longer its normal soft blue. Instead, it was filled with shimmering cracks of light, as if someone had taken a mirror to the sky and smashed it. Each crack glowed with shifting colors. Too bright and too unnatural to be clouds. "Okay," Noah said, voice trembling. "That's new." Dr. Reed pressed her hand to her mouth. She looked overwhelmed, not afraid. Exactly, but shocked, like her brain was running 1,000 calculations at once. "This shouldn't be possible," she whispered. "We didn't do this. At least, not directly." "What do you mean?" Eli asked. She turned to them slowly. "The manipulator didn't cause damage to our sky. It didn't break anything." "Then what did it do?" Noah asked. "It revealed something that was already there." Eli felt a chill run down his spine. "You're saying the sky was cracked before?" "Yes," she said quietly. "Something is wrong with our atmosphere. Very wrong. And it has been wrong for a long time." No one spoke. The shimmering cracks pulsed gently, like veins of light stretching across the heavens. Dr. Reed backed away from the window, her voice turning urgent. "Boys, listen to me. This is bigger than anything I've ever worked on. We may have 5 hours, maybe less, before whatever is behind those cracks becomes a danger to Earth." Eli swallowed. "What do we do?" Dr. Reed set her jaw. "We fix it, or we try." Noah grabbed his backpack. "Mom, if this is about saving the world, we're helping. Right, Eli?" Eli nodded, though part of him trembled. "Right. HFY team, I guess." Dr. Reed blinked. "HFY? Humans for the win," Noah said proudly. "We can handle anything." For the first time since the sky cracked, Dr. Reed smiled. "Then we'd better start. Because if I'm right," she looked toward the glowing fractures outside. "Whatever created those cracks might not be from Earth." And for Eli Turner, that was the moment the normal world ended, and something far bigger began. After the strange event in Dr. Reed's living room, Eli, Noah, and Dr. Maya Reed stepped outside to get a better view. The glowing fractures stretched across the sky, like giant lightning frozen in time. They shimmered in colors no one had names for, sometimes gold, sometimes violet, sometimes something between blue and silver that didn't feel real at all. People in the neighborhood were gathering on sidewalks, pointing upward in confusion. Some took pictures. Others whispered. A few simply stared, too stunned to react. Eli felt the weight of the moment pressing on his chest. He had never seen the world look so exposed. As if something behind the sky had suddenly become visible. Dr. Reed took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "We need data. I have to understand what the manipulator reacted to." "I'll help," Noah said immediately. "Me too," Eli added. Dr. Reed placed a hand on each of their shoulders. "You two are brave. But we need to be smart. Whatever this is, it's not small." Sirens echoed in the distance as emergency vehicles started moving through the town. A helicopter roared overhead. Even birds were confused, flying in strange patterns as they avoided the cracks of light. "Mom, what if the machine didn't just reveal something?" Noah asked. "What if it woke something up?" Dr. Reed didn't answer right away. Instead, she pointed toward the house. "Inside. We need to run a scan." They hurried back in, stepping over wires and half-built devices. The gravitational manipulator still hovered above the table, glowing softly like it was alive. Dr. Reed rushed to her workstation, a cluster of screens, wires, microscopes, soldering tools, and notebooks filled with scribbles only she could understand. She tapped keys so fast that Eli could barely see her fingers move. One of the screens lit up with spinning graphs and waveforms. "What are you scanning?" Eli asked. "The sky's energy," she replied. "Specifically, the energy that reacted with my machine." And? Noah asked. She stared at the screen. Then she frowned. Then she blinked in disbelief. "This can't be correct. What does it say?" Eli stepped closer. "Doctor." Reed turned toward them slowly. "Whatever caused the cracks in the sky, it's not natural. It's not a weather phenomenon, or a solar flare, or anything from Earth." "Then where is it from?" Noah asked. "Space," she whispered. The room went silent. Eli felt a chill crawl slowly down his spine. He didn't like the idea of something huge and powerful staring down at Earth like a curious eye. Noah crossed his arms. "If it's from space, why did it suddenly show now?" "That's what worries me," she said. "It wasn't sudden. My manipulator simply made it visible. Which means whatever caused the cracks has been affecting Earth for years, maybe decades." Eli looked at the glowing machine. "So your invention didn't cause the problem? It found it." "Yes," she said firmly. "But that also means the source might be reacting to us now." As if responding to her words, the manipulator pulsed. Once, twice. Then a thin beam of light shot out, this time gentle, not dangerous. It projected a hologram-like pattern into the air. Moving lines, symbols, and strange shapes. "What is that?" Noah asked. Dr. Reed stared. "It looks like a signal. A message?" Eli whispered. "I don't know. But someone or something is communicating." The holographic shapes rearranged themselves into a circular pattern. Soft tones played, almost like music. But not quite. The air vibrated lightly with each sound. Dr. Reed quickly grabbed a notepad. "Take notes. Every detail. This might be first contact." Eli swallowed. The idea of aliens didn't scare him normally. Movies had prepared him, but this felt different. Real, heavy. The manipulator's projection shifted again. A swirling spiral appeared, then stretched into a long line with dots pulsing at each end. "These patterns," Dr. Reed muttered. "They're too structured, too organized. It's not random energy. This is intentional." "Intentional from who?" Noah asked. Dr. Reed hesitated. "I think it's coming from beyond the atmosphere. Something on the other side of those cracks." Eli stared at the sky outside the window. The glowing fractures pulsed faintly, like they were breathing. "What if someone has been trying to warn us?" he asked softly. Noah turned to him. "Warn us about what?" Before Eli could answer, the manipulator flashed bright gold. A single, sharp tone filled the room. Then a voice, soft, faint, and distorted, echoed through the air, as if carried by wind from another world. "Ew." All three froze. The voice repeated, a little clearer. "Help, please." Dr. Reed's eyes widened. "This is impossible." Eli felt his heart racing. "That's a voice. A real voice." Noah stared at the manipulator. "But why does it sound so weak?" "Because it's traveling through layers of distorted space," Dr. Reed said. "Whoever sent it is very far away. Or trapped." The projection flickered, then shifted into something new, a shape, crude and blurred, but unmistakable. A handprint. Not human. Longer fingers. Two side ridges. Almost like a mix between a hand and a starfish. Then the voice spoke again, faint and trembling. "Danger. Coming." The projection vanished. The manipulator dimmed. "Silence," Eli whispered. "Danger from what?" Dr. Reed stepped back, her face pale. "If someone out there is trapped, or if they are running, then whatever cracked the sky is not a natural force. Something cracked it on purpose," Noah realized. "Something with power." Dr. Reed nodded slowly. "Something with technology far beyond ours." Eli's stomach twisted. He wanted to believe Earth was safe, that aliens, if they existed, would be friendly, curious, maybe even helpful. But a cracked sky didn't look like a friendly sign. "Mom," Noah said, "if they're asking for help, can we answer?" Dr. Reed hesitated, then approached the manipulator and adjusted a few knobs. Theoretically, yes. But it might attract attention from whatever caused the damage. Eli looked between them. "So either we respond and help someone out there, or we stay quiet and hope the danger doesn't find us." Dr. Reed took a deep breath. "Humanity has always stepped forward when someone needs help. That's who we are." She pressed a button. The manipulator hummed, then glowed with soft white light. "Let's try." She leaned forward and spoke clearly into the machine. "This is Maya Reed. We received your message. If you can hear us, please respond." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a loud boom echoed outside. Eli nearly jumped. What was that? They ran to the front door and swung it open. A massive beam of light, thick and brilliant, shot down from one of the cracks in the sky and struck the nearby forest. Birds scattered. Trees shook. A wave of energy rippled through the ground. Noah gasped. "Did your message trigger that?" "No," Dr. Reed whispered. "That wasn't a response. That was something else." The crack pulsed again, and from its bright edges, a small object shot downward. Fast, too fast. It vanished into the forest where the beam had struck. Eli felt his blood run cold. What just fell out of the sky? Dr. Reed didn't blink. "Boys, get your shoes. We're going to the forest." "What? Why?" Noah asked. "Because," she said firmly, "Earth just got visitors, and we need to see if they're friend or enemy before someone else reaches them first." Eli exchanged a look with Noah. This wasn't the science project he expected to do today, but the world had changed and they were standing in the middle of it. As they rushed to get ready, Eli took one last look at the fractured sky. The cracks shimmered, almost like they were alive. He had no idea what they were walking into. He only knew one thing. For better or worse, the HFY team was going to find out. The cracked sky glowed faintly above Hilford as Eli, Noah, and Dr. Maya Reed hurried down the forest path. Branches rustled, birds screeched in confusion, and the air buzzed with leftover energy from the beam of light they had seen earlier. Everything felt too quiet, like the forest itself was watching them. Eli stepped over a fallen log and tried not to think about how fast everything had changed. Yesterday, life had been normal. Today, the sky was broken. A strange voice had called for help, and something had just fallen from space. He kept close behind Dr. Reed. She walked with purpose, carrying a scanner the size of a large book. Its screen blinked with shifting colors and lines. "How far is it?" Noah asked, trying to sound brave. "Not far," Dr. Reed replied, without slowing down. The impact was only a few hundred meters inside the forest. Eli glanced at Noah. "Do you think it's dangerous?" Noah shrugged, though his hands trembled slightly. "Everything is dangerous today." A sudden crack of a branch made them all freeze. Eli's breath caught. He scanned the trees, expecting something to jump out, but it was only a deer, sprinting away with panicked eyes. "It felt the impact too," Dr. Reed said quietly. "Animals can sense things we can't." They walked deeper. The forest thickened. The air felt heavy, filled with a strange metallic smell. Eli touched a leaf, and it tingled under his fingers like it had static electricity. "Mom," Noah said, "is it safe to be here?" "I don't know," she admitted. "But we have to understand what fell. If it's alive, it might need help." Eli nodded slowly. He remembered the voice they'd heard, the weak, trembling call for help. Something in that voice sounded scared, trapped, alone. He pushed forward. A minute later, the ground suddenly dipped. Trees were knocked over. Dirt was thrown everywhere, as if a giant fist had punched the ground. "We're close," Dr. Reed said. They reached a clearing, one that had not been there before. The crater was shallow, about the size of 2 cars. Smoke drifted from the dirt, curling upward into the still air. In the center, half buried under soil and broken branches, was a strange object. Eli stepped closer. It wasn't a rock, and it wasn't a machine. It was both. Its surface was metallic, but shaped like something grown, not built. Curved lines ran along its body, glowing faint silver, like veins. A faint hum vibrated through the air. "What is that?" Noah whispered. Dr. Reed didn't answer at first. Instead, she crouched near the edge of the crater and scanned the object with her device. The screen flashed rapidly. "This material is unknown," she murmured. "It's not any metal from Earth, and it's alive." Eli blinked. "Alive?" Noah's eyes widened. "You mean it's a creature?" "Not exactly," she said. "More like a shell. A protective pod." Eli felt a chill. "So, something is inside." Dr. Reed nodded slowly. "I think so." As she moved closer, the pod gave a small, weak pulse. The ground vibrated lightly. Eli swallowed. "It's trying to communicate." Noah stepped back. "Or it's waking up." Dr. Reed raised her hand. "Stay calm. We don't know if it's dangerous. But we do know someone sent us a message asking for help. This might be the source." Eli stared at the pod. "If it needs help, we have to do something." Dr. Reed took a deep breath. "Agreed, but carefully." She placed her hand gently on the surface. The pod reacted instantly. A soft glow spread from her hand across the entire shell. The lines lit up like a circuit board. A soft tone echoed a sad, trembling chime that made Eli's chest tighten. Then the pod cracked, not violently, slowly, like an egg hatching. A thin line split down the middle, glowing brighter. The metal shifted, folding away like petals opening. Inside, something small moved. Eli's breath caught. A creature no bigger than a cat lay curled up. Its skin glowed faint white blue, almost transparent. It had long, delicate limbs and a round head with closed eyes. It looked fragile, like it would break if touched. Noah whispered, "Is it a baby alien?" Dr. Reed didn't speak. She looked stunned, overwhelmed, amazed. The creature opened its eyes. They glowed, bright silver. It stared at them, not with fear, but with relief. The creature tried to move, but its body shook weakly. A small, pained sound escaped its mouth, a soft hum that matched the voice from the manipulator. Eli's heart clenched. "It is the one who asked for help." The creature lifted one hand, if it could be called a hand, and touched Dr. Reed's wrist. A pulse of light passed through her skin. Her eyes widened. "It's sending information. Images. Feelings." Eli and Noah stepped closer. "What is it saying?" Noah asked. Dr. Reed closed her eyes for a moment, absorbing the connection. Then she opened them slowly. "It's scared," she said quietly. "It's alone. It escaped from something. Something powerful." Eli felt cold. "Something that broke the sky." "Yes," Dr. Reed said. "Something that's still out there." The creature suddenly gasped a soft, strangled sound. Its body flickered like a dying light bulb. "It's hurt," Eli said urgently. "We have to take it back to the house," Dr. Reed said. "I can stabilize it. My equipment." But before she could finish, the ground trembled. All three turned sharply. A deep rumble echoed through the forest. Birds exploded from the trees in huge flocks. Leaves shook. Branches snapped. "What was that?" Noah shouted. Dr. Reed's scanner beeped rapidly. She stared at the screen in horror. "Something else is coming." Eli felt his throat tighten. "What kind of something?" She didn't answer. Not because she didn't want to, but because, at that moment, something burst through the trees across the clearing. It wasn't an animal. It wasn't human. And it definitely wasn't friendly. A massive shape, tall, metallic, and sharp, stepped into the light. Its body looked like a twisted exoskeleton, all black metal and glowing red cracks. Its head was triangular with no face, just a single red slit glowing like a burning eye. Noah whispered, voice shaking, "Is that a robot?" Dr. Reed stared. "Not a robot. A tracker. A hunter." Eli stepped protectively in front of the alien creature. He didn't know why, maybe instinct, maybe courage, but he felt a spark inside him. The hunter took one slow step forward. A deep mechanical growl echoed from its chest. It was looking at the pod, no at what came out of it. The creature in Dr. Reed's arms whimpered, trying to curl up tighter. Dr. Reed whispered, "It's here for the child." Noah stepped beside Eli. "We're not giving it." Eli nodded firmly. "HFY, remember? Humans don't back down." The hunter raised an arm. A red symbol flashed across its chest, one that looked eerily like the cracks in the sky. Dr. Reed whispered sharply, "Move! Now!" They dove aside, just as a beam of red energy shot from the hunter's arm, slicing through the crater and vaporizing the soil where they had stood. "Run!" Dr. Reed shouted. Eli grabbed Noah's wrist, and they sprinted into the trees. Branches slapped their faces. Roots grabbed at their feet. The sound of the hunter crashing through the forest behind them filled the air like thunder. "It's gaining!" Noah yelled. "Keep going," Dr. Reed ordered. "Don't stop." Eli's chest burned. His legs ached. But he didn't slow down, not when the small alien needed them, not when the world was at risk. A bright flash lit up the forest as another beam tore past them, blasting a tree into splinters. Eli didn't look back. They broke out of the thickest trees and into a narrow trail. "We need to get it home," Dr. Reed shouted. But before they could reach the road, the hunter landed in front of them with a heavy thud, cracking the ground. Noah skidded to a stop. "We're trapped!" The hunter raised its arm again. Eli's heart pounded. "Doctor." Reed stepped forward, shielding the fragile alien with her own body. "Stay behind me." The hunter's red slit brightened. Energy built. Eli clenched his fists, ready to do something, anything. He didn't know what humans could do against something like this, but he knew one thing. They weren't giving up the creature. Not today. Not ever. And then, the alien child lifted its small hand. A burst of blinding white light exploded from the creature, sweeping across the forest and hitting the hunter square in the chest. The hunter staggered backward, sparks flying. Eli gasped. "No way," Noah whispered. The creature's eyes glowed brighter. The light pulsed again, just as the hunter roared and charged once more. The battle had only just begun. The blast of white light blinded Eli for a moment. Leaves flew. Dirt spun into the air, and the forest glowed as if a small sun had suddenly burst to life. When the light faded enough for him to see again, the alien creature in Dr. Reed's arms was trembling, its tiny body flickering weakly like a dying flame. Across the clearing, the hunter, a towering metal monster of black armor and red cracks, staggered backward. Its chest panel smoked where the white light had struck. The red slit that served as its eye flickered angrily. But it wasn't destroyed. It was angry. Very angry. Eli's heart pounded as the hunter steadied itself and let out a deep, mechanical roar. The ground vibrated with the force of it. Noah grabbed Eli's arm. "That didn't stop it." Dr. Reed held the creature close. "But it slowed it down. That light means something. It's the only thing that hurts it." The creature whimpered softly, pressing its glowing hand against her chest. It was exhausted, Eli could see that clearly, but it also seemed desperate, as if it knew the danger wasn't over. The hunter stepped forward, its heavy metal feet crushing branches and stones. A red circle on its arm began to glow, building energy for another beam. "It's going to shoot again," Eli shouted. "Get down," Dr. Reed yelled. They dove flat as a red beam sliced through the air. The blast hit a boulder behind them, exploding it into shards. The shockwave shook the trees. "We can't fight this thing in the open," Dr. Reed said, standing up and clutching the creature. "We need to get to the house where I have tools, protection, equipment, something." "But how?" Noah said. "It's faster than us." "Not on the trails, it's not," Eli said, breathing hard. "The forest is too tight for something that big." Noah blinked. "Eli, that might actually work," the hunter snarled, scanning the area with its glowing red slit. Lines of energy ran along its arms, pulsing brighter. "It's tracking us," Dr. Reed said. "It can sense the creature. We need to confuse it." Eli suddenly pointed at the glowing alien. "What if it hides its light?" Or shuts it off? The creature lifted its head weakly. It blinked, and the white-blue glow around its body slowly dimmed, slower, dimmer, dimmer, until the light almost disappeared. Eli held his breath. Is that enough? Dr. Reed glanced at her scanner. The signal dropped, but not completely. It's still faintly visible. It has to be enough, Noah said. We don't have a choice. The hunter's red slit flickered rapidly, sweeping around the shattered trees. It made a frustrated growling sound, like an animal that had lost a scent. Now, Dr. Reed whispered urgently. Run. They sprinted into the forest again, weaving between thick trunks and stepping over roots and fallen branches. Eli's legs burned, but fear pushed him forward. The alien creature's breaths were shallow, and every time Dr. Reed stumbled, Eli felt panic rise in his chest. Behind them, the hunter smashed through the trees. Wham! Crack! Boom! Its massive feet crushed roots and rocks, its metal limbs carved through branches like knives. It was struggling to move between closely packed trees, but not by much. Eli stole a glance over his shoulder and wished he hadn't. The hunter was forcing its way through, ripping trees out of the ground, tearing vines off its armor. It looked unstoppable. Faster, Noah shouted. I'm trying, Eli gasped. The forest thinned a little, and sunlight streamed through. The clearing near the outer edge of the woods came into view. Beyond it lay the road. We're close, Dr. Reed said. Just a little more. But the hunter's red slit glowed brighter. It was about to fire again. Eli grabbed a fallen branch and hurled it at the creature, not because it would hurt it, but because he had to do something. The branch bounced off harmlessly, but it made the hunter pause for a fraction of a second. Seriously? Noah yelled. You think that'll stop it? I panicked, Eli shouted back. Argue later, Dr. Reed yelled. Move. The forest behind them suddenly lit with red light. Jump! Eli screamed. They dove again as the beam cut across the ground, leaving a smoking trench. Eli scrambled to his feet, chest heaving. It's going to hit us if we stay in the open. Dr. Reed scanned the area quickly. There. She pointed at a narrow path between two massive tree trunks. Go through. They squeezed between the trunks just as the hunter charged. The trunks were too close for it to fit without forcing its body sideways. It roared in frustration, clawing at the bark. Branches cracked overhead. Leaves rained down. It's stuck, Noah shouted. Not for long, Dr. Reed warned. Run while we can. They hurried down the narrow path as the hunter struggled behind them. Metal screeched against wood as it forced its bulky body through the tight gap. Its arms smashed the trees aside. Eli looked up and saw the sky through the branches. It was still cracked. Still glowing. What else was coming through? The thought made him run even faster. Finally, they burst out of the forest onto the familiar road leading back to town. Cars were abandoned on the sides. People were standing outside their homes, staring at the cracked sky with fear and confusion. But no one saw the hunter yet. Dr. Reed clutched the creature tightly. Its glowing was faint, almost invisible now. It was barely conscious. We need to get home, she said. Now. They ran down the road. Their house came into view, the one with the humming devices, wires, and the gravitational manipulator waiting inside. But as they neared the front yard, boom, a huge shadow landed behind them. The hunter had escaped the forest. Its armor was scratched, leaves and branches clinging to it like battle scars. But its red slit glowed brighter than ever, locking onto the creature in Dr. Reed's arms. It followed us, Noah whispered. No, Dr. Reed said breathlessly. It followed the child. It won't stop until it retrieves it. Eli's heartbeat thundered. Then we have to stop it. They reached the house steps. Dr. Reed fumbled for her keys. Inside. Quickly, the hunter charged. Eli and Noah reached the doorway first. Dr. Reed pushed the boys inside, followed by herself. But before she could close the door, a metallic hand slammed against it. The impact shook the entire house. The hunter forced its arm through the doorway, claws reaching for the alien creature. Sparks flew as metal scraped against the doorframe. Push the door, Dr. Reed yelled. Eli, Noah, and Dr. Reed shoved their weight against it. The hunter growled, its arm pushing harder, inch by inch. "It's too strong," Eli cried. "No," Dr. Reed shouted. "Humans don't give up." The creature opened its eyes. Faint silver light returned. Its tiny hand touched the door. A soft white glow spread across the wood. Not violent, not explosive, just strong. Strong enough to push the hunter's arm back an inch. Then another inch. Suddenly the hunter recoiled, as if burned. Its arm jerked back. Dr. Reed slammed the door shut and locked every bolt. Noah pressed his back against it. "Is it gone?" Eli listened. Heavy footsteps echoed outside. Thud, thud, thud. The hunter walked slowly, circling the house. "It's looking for another way in, Doctor," Reed said. The creature in her arms let out a weak hum, its light flickering. Eli swallowed hard. "We need to protect it." "But how do we fight something like that?" Dr. Reed looked at the manipulator. "With science." Noah blinked. "Mom, you can't be serious." She stepped toward the machine. "If this device revealed the cracks in the sky, then maybe I can adjust it to create something else. A shield, a barrier, a pulse, anything." The hunter slammed against the side of the house. Shelf items rattled. The windows shook. "We don't have much time," Dr. Reed said. She placed the alien gently on the couch. "Stay with me," she whispered to it. "We're going to keep you safe." The creature blinked weakly. Then Dr. Reed began working wires, switches, tools flying across the table as she modified the gravitational manipulator. Eli helped hold cables. Noah tightened screws. The room filled with sparks and humming energy. Outside, the hunter roared. It was preparing to strike again. Dr. Reed's hands flew faster. Almost. Almost. A loud whine rose from the machine. "Mom?" Noah asked. "What is it doing?" Dr. Reed looked at her sons and at Eli. "It's creating a gravitational barrier. If it works, it will keep the hunter out." "And if it doesn't?" Eli asked. She swallowed. "It might tear the house apart." The hunter's red glow filled the windows. Eli clenched his fists. Humans didn't run. "Not today." "Do it," he said. Dr. Reed flipped the switch. The manipulator flashed bright as a star. The entire house shook, and everything went white. The early morning sky over the mountains looked calm, almost peaceful. But Ryan felt the opposite inside. The world looked the same, but everything had changed. The truth about Project Aurora, the missing scientists, the hidden alien technology, it all rested on his shoulders now. And he knew something even bigger was coming. Inside the safe house, Dr. Liana stood near the window, watching the sun rise. She looked tired but strong, as if she had been preparing her whole life for this moment. Ryan walked over to her. "Did you sleep at all?" he asked. She shook her head slowly. "No. There is no time to sleep now. The signal will activate today." Ryan sighed. He knew she was right. "So this is it." "Yes," she whispered. "This is the day the world changes forever." Behind them, the old generator humming in the corner suddenly stopped. A moment later, the entire safe house shook violently. Ryan grabbed the table to hold himself steady. "Is it an earthquake?" Liana's eyes widened. "No, it's starting." A deep, pulsing sound filled the air. It was not loud, but it felt like it went through the walls, the floor, and their bones. Ryan had heard something like it before during the incident in the underground lab. But this time it was stronger. The mountains outside lit up with faint blue cracks of energy. Ryan stared. "That's impossible." Liana stepped back from the window. "The alien beacon is waking." Before Ryan could think, the comm link on the wall beeped with an emergency signal. It was Captain Hale, breathless and shouting through static. "Ryan, can you hear me?" "The beacon is emitting a full-scale activation wave. If it completes, it will send coordinates into deep space. We don't know who or what will answer." Ryan looked at Liana quickly, but she seemed calm, almost resigned. "It is sending a message to the creators," she said quietly. "Creators?" Ryan echoed. "You mean—" She nodded once. "Yes. And if they come, humanity will not be ready." The static on the comlink grew sharper. Captain Hale's voice cut out. Ryan shut it down before two. Then silence. Ryan felt his chest tighten. This was no longer about missing scientists or secret technology. This was the entire planet. He turned to Liana. "Tell me what we have to do." Her expression softened. For a moment she looked almost proud of him. "We must go to the beacon's core. You are the only one who can access it." "Because of the implant?" he asked. "Not just the implant," she said gently. "Because it chose you." Ryan froze. He had suspected for days that something was different inside him, but hearing it confirmed made his heart beat faster. "Why me?" Liana took a slow breath. "Because you are human. And because humans have something the creators do not." Ryan frowned. "What's that?" "Choice," she answered. They left the safe house and drove toward the mountains as fast as the old jeep could go. The sky above the peaks twisted with strange blue lights, like lightning trapped inside clouds. Ryan kept his hands tight on the steering wheel. "Do you think the government is also coming?" "They are already here," Liana said, pointing ahead. Ryan saw smoke rising in the distance, helicopters, transport vehicles, and soldiers covering the mountain roads. The whole area looked like a war zone. "Great," Ryan muttered. "So now we have aliens and the entire military to deal with." "Not the entire military," Liana corrected. "Only those loyal to General Rusk." Ryan winced. General Rusk was the man behind the secret experiments, the disappearances, the lies. If he reached the beacon first, he would use it for power, not protection. Ryan swallowed hard. "Then we have to beat him." They abandoned the jeep and continued on foot along a narrow, rocky path. The air shook with energy. The beacon's power was rising fast. Halfway up the trail, Liana grabbed Ryan's arm and pulled him behind a boulder. "Wait." A group of armed soldiers marched past, their weapons glowing with experimental tech Ryan recognized from the underground lab. "These aren't regular soldiers," Ryan whispered. "No," she said. "These are Rusk's personal units." Once the soldiers passed, they continued upward until they reached the mouth of a cave, the same cave Ryan had seen in the holographic map back in the lab. "This is the entrance," Liana said. "The beacon's core is deep inside." Ryan took a breath. "Let's go." The cave was dark except for the blue light pulsing from deep within. The walls vibrated gently, like the heartbeat of a giant creature. As they moved deeper, Ryan felt the implant in his neck grow warm. The feeling was strange, not painful, but heavy, like pressure building under his skin. Liana noticed. "The beacon recognizes you." "Recognizes me for what?" he asked. She didn't answer. A moment later, the tunnel opened into a massive chamber. At the center stood the alien beacon. Towering, shining, alive. It wasn't a machine or a structure. It looked almost like a living pillar of energy, shifting shapes and colors every second. Ryan stared in awe. "This is beautiful and dangerous," Liana reminded him softly. Before they could move, a cold metallic voice echoed behind them. "Step away from the beacon." Ryan spun around. A squad of soldiers blocked the entrance, and in front of them stood General Rusk himself. Rusk's expression was calm, almost polite, but his eyes were hard. "Ryan Carter, the only successful carrier of the alien interface." He smiled thinly. "I have been waiting for you." Ryan tensed. "You're not going to use this thing to call the creators. You'll start something you can't control." Rusk chuckled. "Control is exactly what I want." His eyes glowed faintly, blue signs of implant overload. "And once the creators arrive, humanity will have new rulers. Me included." Liana stepped forward, shielding Ryan. "You don't know what you're inviting, Rusk. The creators are not saviors. They see humans as tools. And I will be their greatest tool," Rusk said proudly. He lifted his weapon. Ryan didn't think he moved. The beacon reacted instantly. A blast of blue energy erupted from the floor, forming a barrier around Ryan and Liana. Rusk fired, but the bullets dissolved before reaching them. The entire chamber trembled. The beacon's light grew brighter and brighter, until Ryan could barely see. Then a deep voice echoed inside his mind. The choice is yours. Ryan staggered, gripping his head. Liana, do you hear that? She shook her head. No. What is it saying? Ryan looked up at the beacon. It felt like the entire structure was watching him. It's speaking to me, he whispered. It wants me to choose. The beacon projected two visions into his mind. One, a world where the creators returned, bringing technology, power, and domination. Humanity would lose its freedom. The other, a world where humanity stood alone, free but unprepared for the dangers of the galaxy. Both paths carried danger. Both paths had consequences. But only one path allowed humans to grow, to build, to rise on their own. Ryan stepped toward the beacon. Rusk shouted, "Stop him!" But the soldiers couldn't get through the energy barrier. Ryan pressed his hand against the glowing core. The voice spoke again. "Choose." Ryan took a deep breath. Humans choose their own fate. He pushed with all his strength. The beacon's light exploded outward. The mountain shook. The soldiers were thrown back. The chamber cracked like glass. And then, silence. Pure, heavy silence. When Ryan opened his eyes, he was lying on the cave floor. The beacon was gone, completely dissolved into dust. Liana knelt beside him. "Ryan, are you okay?" He sat up slowly. "I think so." "What did you do?" she asked. "I shut it down," he said. "Forever." General Rusk lay unconscious on the ground, his implants short-circuited. Ryan looked at the empty chamber. No beacon, no signal, no alien message. Humanity was safe, for now. Liana placed a hand on his shoulder. "You made the right choice." Ryan nodded slowly. Not the easy one, but the right one. Together they walked toward the cave entrance. As they stepped into the sunlight, Ryan felt a strange peace inside him. The world outside looked the same as before. But now, humanity's future truly belonged to humans. And Ryan Carter, an ordinary young man, had ensured it. The story was not over. It had just begun.